Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. You are listening to ProjectME, the podcast with Tiffany Carter. Today I have on Lynda D'Amico, the co-founder of the InnerGuide brand, best known for their incredible business and life planners. And I've got to tell you guys, recently I was gifted one of their premium planners that Lynda will tell us more about. And I got so freaking excited because this is going to up-level my entire business strategy and life planning that I had to get her on the show so that you guys could learn some of their best practices and processes and go order one for yourself. So welcome, Lynda. Yay!
Hi. Thank you so much for the fabulous introduction, and thank you for having me on your show. I'm so happy to be here.
Of course. So tell us a little bit about, give us a brief rundown on, I know that you are a graphic artist as well as an overall artist. How did you transition that into creating this amazing brand?
Well, actually, we just had our 5-year anniversary yesterday. And so 5 years ago yesterday, my business partner, a friend, approached me with an idea. He had just finished going to NYU's coaching program. And his idea was to create a planner implementing some of the strategies that coaches use. And we both were our whole lives interested in personal development, creating more freedom for ourselves, tried to transform our lives to empower ourselves. And we wanted to be able to do that for other people. And that's why the concept of using some of the coaching strategies was just an idea that we thought no other planner up until then had really embraced that. And we kept seeing around us, we had so many friends that were on a personal growth journey, and they were really stuck in their lives and suffering. And we saw so many of them taking like personal growth workshops and traveling to exotic places and spending a lot of money. And those events can be life-changing, but most of the time, and this is what we saw in our friends, they would come back so pumped up, so excited, and then they would fall right back to the same patterns, within 4 or 5 days. So that combination of the idea and seeing the people around us and really wanting that for ourselves and wanting it for other people, so people could be excited about their lives. And so we decided to create this planner. And the first one that we started was called A Life Coach in a Book. It's a 3-month goals planner. And we did a lot of research and found out that it takes about 3 months to change an old behavior into a new one so it actually sticks and you can implement it into your life. So we put that out on Amazon. We had a friend that had some success with his products, and it took off. And as that baby was sort of like flourishing, we decided to take the similar concept and create what the yearly planner, implementing some coaching strategies, but in a more holistic, adding more spirituality in it. So a much more holistic and maybe like a little bit softer approach, not as much, what's the word? Not so focused, not so hard just a little bit easier. Not forcing people to be so accountable.
That's what I find so unique about these planners, you guys. And Lynda, what's so cool about it is, first off, it's in exact alignment with what I teach, which is not just, how people can achieve the lives they desire and deserve, but it's that wealth plus worth, right? We can't reach that success that we want without doing some of that inner work. And I find that your planners do a beautiful job of integrating, right? Integrating kind of that emotional component that comes along when we're, trying to achieve our goals, right?
Absolutely. That's why we took a look at what was out there in the planner world, and it was very focused on external goals and scheduling appointments, but there was nothing for yourself, nothing for your heart, for your soul. And the only way you can actually really achieve your big dreams is by doing the inner work. So we focus a lot on creating a mindset that will put you on that path so you can create the life that you want. So the inner goals, turning people inward is what we do so they can create in their outer lives what they want. That's a big component.
So well said. And, I've shared with my audience before that, I was, already making, 7 figures, but I lost 3/4 of my entire net worth in 3 months, truly all because I did not do the inner work. I just kind of kept working, grinding, focusing, and I didn't do that inner work. And because I didn't, I had self-sabotaging type behaviors that led me to lose all that money that I worked my ass off to earn. So
wow,
you've got it down with this system for sure.
Well, it was just really observing people, what they struggled with, and the kind of support that they needed at that time. And there was a whole movement of it. And yet what's a great way? A lot of people avoid personal growth or spiritual growth programs. So it's sort of like in disguise of a planner. And in that way, it's just part of your day. It's nothing weird. It's nothing extraordinary. It just becomes part of your day. And in a very gentle way with the yearly planner, just really helps you stop and think. I think, one of the frustrations that I have with living in the culture that we have in the Western world at this time is everything is so fast paced. Everything is so disconnected. And we really lost the ability to really look within our hearts and to just shut down the noise, the distractions, and give ourselves that gift of quiet, of solitude. I mean, people are afraid to be with themselves, but there's so much to gain with that. And once you start uncovering the distractions and getting rid of and just stripping things down, what you get is you're able to start hearing the calling of your heart. And that is why we named our company InnerGuide, because we all have an inner guide that is connected to our divine energy, so to speak, that we're all connected to spirit or each other. And that is where a bigger sense of knowledge is. And if we can learn to turn inward, use it as our inner compass or GPS, it's for us, it's personal. It's going to give you the answers, and it's going to direct you and support you in ways that you can't even. So that's what we tried to do.
I couldn't agree more. And some people, who maybe haven't explored that much personal development, who are listening, self-help type books, spirituality, or the law of attraction, people who haven't really explored much of that. Another way to kind of say, tap into your inner guide is your gut, that gut feeling, that voice you kind of get in your head, or when you're taking a shower or something that says, you know what, you should go and try this, or this would be a really, cool invention, or, why don't you go ask this person for help? That's the same thing as what she's talking about, just in a more of a personal development, spiritual language, right?
Yes. And what we try to do is try to help people understand the difference between that crazy voice commentary in your head, that inner dialogue that holds us back, because a lot of that is our old programming that we received when we were younger. And those are the things that sabotage us. You can't do that. How could you, think you could do that? That is just thoughts. That's just thoughts. And we can decide whether or not we want to believe those thoughts or not. So what we hope to do is to help people realize that inner dialogue, be aware of it, and to transform it into something that's much more empowering. And once you do that, then your inner guide or your intuition and those other heartfelt feelings will start to emerge. You know the difference between when you're rambling in your head. It's like trying to make a decision by folding a piece of paper in half, and these are the reasons I can do it. These are the reasons I shouldn't do it. That's your brain. It can go back and forth forever and you'll never get an answer. But if you uncover and just quiet your mind and tune more into your gut or your heart, the answer will be, the voice is different. It's just a knowing. You know when it's truth. You feel it through your whole body. And that's what we try to get people more in touch with.
Lynda, how did you go from seeing and listening to your own inner guide, that there's, a hole in the market in terms of personal development, success? How did you go from seeing that hole in the market to doing all the things to make, a physical product happen and launching it? How did you do that?
Well, first, I think it was just a lifelong process of learning it for myself. That was one of the biggest things I struggled with, knowing what my inner voice was in this crazy conversation in my head. And I can't tell you how I actually got there. It was a lot of reflection. It was giving myself the time to contemplate my life, right? I think it was Confucius says a life not that you don't that you don't contemplate is not worth living. And that's the only way that we can get some perspective on our life, because otherwise we're just caught up in, the busyness of the day. And we never really get to kind of really make decisions to get to know ourselves better, know what we value, know what we really want for our life, so we can create that vision that becomes our North Star. So we just, working on the planner, it was fun. We just tried to find ways to integrate little elements that make you look within, but in a more fun and playful way. We have this section in the yearly planner that's your mental health score, and it has these little smiley faces, so I'm not so smiley. And it's just to kind of, okay, a lot of what we create in the book is not teaching you anything, but just trying to make you develop self-awareness, because you have all the answers for yourself. We really have nothing to teach you. We can only give you the structure and the guidance to help you go in and to help you figure it out for yourself, right? No one can tell you, this is how you have to live your life. And we just find ways to, hopefully guide people to their own wisdom, really.
So you saw a gap in the actual marketplace, and you saw a need for something that you felt a need for yourself, dealing with and managing and assessing your own inner dialogue. And then your background, because of being an artist and a graphic designer, you were able to merge all these things into an actual profitable business.
Yes, exactly. And The creative part was really fun. Doing the graphic design for a project that wasn't for a magazine, but it was for us, for what we were doing to help people. And that was so motivating and so much fun. And it's developed over the years. I think the design that we have now really reflects the brand, but we stumbled along the way, and we, made a few little mistakes, and we kind of, got back on track. And I feel like the product that we're putting out now I'm just really, so pleased with it. And I can't wait to share it with people, to share it with the world.
Tell us a little bit about, the mistakes along the way, because I like keeping it real here on ProjectME for people who are wanting to start businesses or who are currently, entrepreneurs. I feel we can learn the most from our mistakes or our missteps. What are a couple of them that you made and what did you learn from them?
Well, one of the things that set us back a little bit, we had introduced a new design for the yearly planner. And I just wanted something that was a little more reflective to the brand. But what happened was we made too big of a change, and people they get used to something. I think if we made a little bit of a change and then another little change, it wouldn't have been such a shock for people. So we've kind of integrated some of the elements of the old design with the new flavor, and we're back on track. But definitely, it's not so much what you want and think is the most beautiful. You have to really listen and understand what the needs are. And, we lost our way a little bit with that, but I feel that right now we've really got back on track with that. So that was a big lesson. So no more gigantic changes.
When you mention, listening to your customer, your potential customer audience, now you have a customer base, but when you first started or before you launched, you didn't have a customer base. So how did you do your, so to speak, market research to make sure you were bringing a product to market, not just that you loved, right? But in order to make money, it has to be what the marketplace is craving and desiring. So how did you do that research before you even had, a following?
Well, that's an interesting question because we didn't. Neither of us were business people. We're idea creative people. My business partner, Jacques, has more of a business sense than I do, thank God. So we winged it. I mean, we just saw the need and we put it out there. And, it just worked. At the time, nobody was doing what we were doing. I think we still are pretty much of a niche market. But I think the more people hear about us, the more people are going to come aboard with it.
There is definitely in the last couple of years, a huge planner journaling movement. There's very popular hashtags on Pinterest, on Instagram. There's big brands that have gotten their planners into, retailers such as, Michael's Crafts and, even Nordstrom's and things like that. Those are more conventional planners, what you would typically think of as a planner. It's a calendar with some fun colors and pizzazz, which is cool. I mean, to me, that's all I knew that was out there. And I'm a big fan of using, Mambi, the Happy Planner brand, because I love stickers. But it is not a, like you say, Lynda, in your brand, it's not a life coach in a planner. Those are just planners. What makes you guys different is you really help people not just plan out their day, but it's planning out your life.
Yes. And in the front of our books, we have what you see. We especially expand on this in the Life Coach in a book, is the workshopping up front. Because also to set goals, not only do you have to work on the inner, but you have to get to know what's really valuable to you and what your what your soul is calling for. So, for people that wouldn't think to take a personal life workshop, I mean, we kind of integrate a little bit in the beginning. And, since we came out, there's a whole movement now of doing what we do. And I don't think anyone still has that personal workshopping up front that sort of sets the tone for our planners. We're really content driven. So, we get a lot of people like, oh, can you add this? Can you add color? Can you add stickers? Can you add? We really focus a lot on the content. And I do like it black and white because you can add your own color. You can add your own stickers. And that's just going to drive up the price. And we'd rather focus on the contact and really delivering a product that does what we want to do to support people to get to know themselves and to grow and to evolve and become a more joyful, compassionate human being. I believe that that's what we're here to do. I like to call it the School of Earth.
Oh, I love that.
School of Earth. So how
did you get your planners? You listened to your inner guide, you and your partner, you just knew what was needed and it took off. Now, there's a lot of people listening that would roll their eyes and go, well, nothing just takes off. Well, okay, first off, guys, all the links to InnerGuide, to their website to buy the planners are all in show notes. So before you go down that path, you need to see them because it isn't just that simple. This is a well-known graphic artist, okay? So the designs are amazing. And there's a lot of thought put in it. So it's not just something that was slapped together. But my question is, how did you have this beautiful product? Okay. So that's one whole level of work that you have to do to find someone to bind it, to find someone to do the cover, to find all that. So how did you go about finding someone to put that together? And then what made you decide on Amazon as a distribution source?
Well, that's how we got started because, as I said in the beginning, we had no idea what we were doing. We had a passion, we had a motivation. I'm going to be really honest here. And a friend told us about Amazon. So we said, oh, let's give it a shot, And since then, we realized that you don't really have a business when you just have a business on Amazon. It's really Amazon's business. So over the last, I think it was last year, we have wonderful web designers, and I had them, I helped design and construct a whole storefront on our website. So we're growing still. Having our own platform now on our site is just going to take us to another level. And we have a huge interest internationally, all over the world. And so they're able to find us and purchase right from our site, which they're not able to do elsewhere. So.
And then you're having to either outsource a company who then ships this product, and you had to research and find that as well.
Oh, yes. And thank God my business partner has been really great on taking upon a lot of that. We now have a fulfillment center. That was months of research. We have a printer. We were printing in the U.S. and we finally had to take it to China because we wanted a lay flat binding for our people. We wanted a sewn. We have the coil bound like you have, but we also wanted a faux leather that was just a little softer and it opens flat. And you cannot create that here in this country.
Oh, interesting.
It's not possible. It's shocking. And so we had to go to China to do it. And that adds a lot of other layers of shipments and the amount of time it takes to get here. You're praying that there's no strike, and the shipping, the people that receive it. So, it's all a process, and a lot of it is learn as you go. That's learn as you go.
That is wonderfully said. And I would ditto that. A lot of stuff with being an entrepreneur, some people come with more knowledge in certain areas than others. I'm more on the business side, not so much on the creative side like you, Lynda. So it's like none of us come in with knowing all the parts. You just have to learn as you go and ask for help and use Google.
Absolutely. And luckily I did, I was in the publishing industry in New York for many years. So I knew a little bit, my way around. I knew some of the language, but we didn't intend to go to China. We were printing in the US. We had no intention, but then we had to. Sometimes you can't project what's coming down the road for you. You just have to be willing to then, okay, well, if that's what we have to do, we're going to have to find a printer over there. We're going to have to find a way to communicate with them. We're going to have to, find a fulfillment center to have a shop. And you just, you just do your best at figuring it all out, right? And get the skills that you need and try to get help where you need it and keep being forward focused. That's all.
How did people find out that this brand of yours, that this planner existed? Because, when looking at, your brand on even social media, it's not like you guys have this huge following where it's all social media driven customers. How did people learn that you guys existed?
I think it was the Amazon platform. And I think when you first launch, I think they beef you up a little bit to be seen. It's more of a struggle now, which is why we're really shifting our focus. We just got the 2019 finished. So now I'm focusing on, okay, what can we do to drive more people to our website? So I'm in the process of creating some ebooks and that I think are going to be very, very valuable for people. We hope that they share them. And we started a teleseminar series so that we're just really trying to take what we're trying to do in the books and turn it into other delivery for people. Not everyone likes a paper planner. The reason why we first did it is because when you have to write something down, it really makes you more accountable. It makes it more concrete.
Don't I know it?
And, it's easy to say a goal or wish a goal or, but when you have to write it down and it really grounds you. And, so that's why, and we also want people to reflect. We have a lot of areas where you can do some journaling. So it's sort of part of the process. And it's not to say that we won't go digital in the future, but right now we're doing some little digital products are in development, and the teleseminars are for people that take in information more by hearing it. So we're expanding.
So you're taking your product into a full brand.
Yes.
So tell me, you say teleseminars, and I use the terminology, webinar, or first off, what is a teleseminar for people who don't know?
Absolutely. It's a group where we do, as hosts, we present the sort of the InnerGuide philosophy about working on the inner, cleaning up the old operating system that we have so we can start to make changes and create new habits for success. So it's done live with a small group. So we actually have the participants part of the conversation. We send out worksheets that they do during the week. We meet every Tuesday for 6 weeks. We may be developing some shorter length teleseminars, but so far, if they're live, the participants are, it's a small enough group that we can ask people questions, and they gain so much about themselves by hearing other people's stories that are struggling with similar things. And it's really a beautiful support group. It really is. And right now we have an amazing group of people that are really just being so vulnerable and sharing their struggles and their hearts and giving each other support. It's really beautiful. And so it's really taking what we do and making it more real for people.
And people can find out about the teleseminars on your website?
Yes, we have an events tab, and that's where we list all the upcoming events. We're in the process of one right now. We're on week 3, and then we'll be taking a little break for the summer, and then we'll be starting up again in October.
Okay, so I'll make sure I have that in the show notes for you guys. There's something I want to circle back on that you mentioned in the beginning of the call that I know I can relate to, and I'm sure thousands and thousands of people can. It's what you said about you noticed, in your friends and acquaintances when they would go to these big events, and I'm just giving an example as a name, but like a Tony Robbins, or they're going to these big personal development, hearing motivational speakers. And although they get a lot out of it at the time, and maybe in the week after they come home, they're all jazzed and pumped and inspired and motivated. What you noticed is there was a definite trail off after that, like first week or so. And most people go back to their standard operating behavior, right?
Absolutely. That's what we see. And that's one of the biggest drivers for us to create something that they can take what they learned. There's so much valuable information in those, and then they can implement them. But you need a structure and you need an accountability system. So for those that are working with a life coach or can't afford a life coach, this is like the life coach in a book, or even the yearly planner is a really great adjunct to just staying on track. You're forced to really look within, and helps you become more aware. Basically, I mean, without self-awareness, you can't make any changes in your life. You're just going to, run on habitual patterns. So that's really what we try to emphasize, is just develop that self-awareness, because you have all the tools and knowledge within yourself. You just have to become more self-aware. And from there, that's where you start tapping into your own personal power to be able to make choices and really choose your thoughts differently, choose to see the world differently. So much of us have, and it's part of the human condition, right? We're all born into this. We all received whatever we received as children. And it's really, we can't help what we received, but as adults, it is our responsibility to be accountable, to own your own life, to be the author of your own life, right? Or the artist of your own life at that point. So,
well, you just summed up everything so beautifully from our interview. And I'm so grateful you came on, and that you and your partner put together a tool for people to be able to use that, one, maybe don't have the funds right now, aren't comfortable spending, thousands of dollars on, a physical coach, but there's another option out there. And those who can do that investment, it is a beautiful adjunct. And that's what I'm going to be using your planner for, is a daily reflection and accountability for myself. And I really believe that the truth comes out when we put things in writing.
Oh, yes. You can't hide from the truth, can we?
Nope. Well, thank you so much, Lynda, for coming on. I really loved talking to you.
Oh, thank you so much, too. I really appreciated being here. And thank you so much. It was wonderful to meet you.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.